nessuno potrebbe per fratello. E tutte le cotture catturate sempre da chete. E pocon se ta cottura poter con apposto che sarà ora creato.
I'm someone who loves Mario Kart. To the characters, the items, the interactive racing, the creative tracks, the community even, etc. Plenty of jollies I can make with whenever I boot up Mario Kart Double Dash, Mario Kart 8, or Mario Kart Wii. Mario Kart 7 too? Yeah, that's not cutting it, Chief! Ooh, Mario Kart Tour. Ooh, this god-forsaken game of a Mario Kart. There are a lot of people who like Mario Kart Tour. There are people that do not mind Tour and the flaws it has. There are people that have plenty of fun and enjoyment with Tour. That's not only awesome, but whatever I say doesn't have to detract from those people who like it. Games are games, mileage varies per gamer, opinions are valid. But holy god, I am excited to drop this game after this video, especially with the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass dropping tonight with the first wave. Thank god Mario Kart 8's getting more tracks. I have a reason to go back to that game, and the Mario Kart content fixation I needed from a console Mario Kart game between this and my delve into Mario Kart Wii CTGP is finally being satiated, because despite how much time I've sunk into Tour, it was not doing it for me. You know the argument, you shouldn't judge a game before you buy it or play it, that's inherently flawed and hypocritically biased. I sunk over at least 500 hours into this game since September of 2019. I have no actual number of how much playtime I put in this game, but given how long it takes to grind and max out your player level, characters, karts, and gliders, and how I've kept up with almost every single tour and all the gifts each one provides since September 2019, there is no way I spent any less than 500 hours in this game, probably over 1,000 if we're being honest. I've wasted so much of my adolescent life over this, in my opinion, bad gacha game, and I haven't touched it nearly as much over the past several months, which obviously helped and is good, but the fact is, there's a lot about this game that does not sit right with me, and this just gives me a sour POV towards Nintendo with this game, more than the other mobile games, and it's why I'm even indulging with you all in this unnecessary, cathartic, but complaint-ridden rant. That's not to say the game doesn't do some things good or marginally positive, but dude, I've wasted so much time on this game. Give me at least this rant, alright?
Oh yeah! It's a Mario! Okie dokie, Luigi time!
So I'll lead off with stuff I'll commend the game on, stuff Tour does good, stuff I gotta give it props for. For easy as it is to make fun of the roster the game has, I gotta hand it to Tour. The roster is arguably one of the best rosters, if not the best Mario Kart's ever seen, especially when you omit a lot of the reskins. It's essentially all of Mario Kart 8's roster minus the non-Mario characters like Link, but it also brought back fan favorites like Diddy Kong, Birdo, even Funky Kong, added new, creative, wacky, or awesome characters like Pauline, King Babam, Dixie Kong, Kamek, Chargin' Chuck, Nabbit, Hammer Bro, Fire Bro, Ice Bro, Boomerang Bro, Monty Mole, etc., alongside the most recent tour bringing back the Miis. Like, if you plastered all of these new characters in Mario Kart 8, the roster would straight up be one of the best rosters in the entire series, even when you omit the alternate costumes on the pre-existing characters. And even then, there are plenty of reskins that do look legitimately cool. There's a variant of King Boo that resembles his look in Luigi's Mansion, there's a Rosalina version in a witch outfit, and another in an Aurora dress, another in a swimsuit, Party Time Pauline, Kangaroo Yoshi, Wedding Mario, Wedding Peach, Ice Mario, Yukata Daisy, Vampire Waluigi, Baseball Mario. There's a ton of other reskins I didn't mention that are solid, and yes, there are a lot of variants specifically for Mario and Peach. 11 Peach variant and like 20 for Mario, about to be 21 come next tour, I shit you not. But there are plenty of recolors and new characters that are very fitting to be in a Mario Kart. The roster's probably the biggest appeal, especially now, about Tour. Second, Tour's tracks are generally solid and neat. A lot of them center around real-world locations like New York and Singapore, so you got courses like Tokyo Blur, New York Minute, Sydney Sprint, Singapore Speedway, etc. Aesthetically, a lot of them are solid, and design-wise they are as well. The ones that stood out to me the most were Vancouver Velocity, Ninja Hideaway, and Merry Mountain. Otherwise, the vast majority of tracks in this game consist of retro tracks across the entire Mario Kart series, a lot of which are nitros and retros that appeared in Mario Kart 7, hence the Mario Kart 7 2 joke earlier. Forgetting the Lucky 7's an item in the game too. Toad and Mario Circuit, Cheep Cheep Lagoon, Rock Rock Mountain, Rosalina's Ice World, Waluigi Pinball, SNES Mario Circuit 1, 2, 3, Vanilla Lake 1, 2, SNES Rainbow Road, 3DS Rainbow Road, Wario Shipyard, GCN Yoshi Circuit, N64 Royal Raceway, Dino Dino Jungle, Airship Fortress, some of the GBA ones like Sunset Wilds and Cheep Cheep Island getting major redesigns as well, and most of them are good and decent as well, except Sky Garden. They botched the hell out of Sky Garden's layout. It's almost a completely different Mushroom Cup track altogether, which is also an 8. That upsets me. Plenty of fan favorites like those, Chocolate Mountain, Frappe Snowland, Maple Treeway, and others that have appeared in this game and are a nice burst of nostalgia when they come around. Tour cycles through different tracks and variants of these tracks every 2 weeks, so it's never consistent, but it keeps players on their toes in a way, since they don't know what they're going to get next bi-weekly for the track selection, and there's always going to be at least one new track every month or so. Graphically, for iPhones at least, the game's nice to look at, nothing insane or crazy. The game's obviously prettier than the 3DS's graphics for Mario Kart 7, and it's in HD. Definitely no Mario Kart 8 in terms of sheen and polish visually. It's solid, it's pretty to look at. Some tracks like 3DS Rainbow Road, Vancouver Velocity, and Airship Fortress though, they just pop with how colorful and vibrant they look. I've mentioned before Tour's art style, it's not a bad one and looks solid enough, but we all know how drop-dead gorgeous of a game 8 has been being on much more powerful hardware. Tour also has missions. You remember mission mode from Mario Kart DS where you had to grab coins, go through rings, take out enemies and such? The last race of every cup in Tour is basically a mission, exactly like the kinds you got in DS. Go through rings, don't hit obstacles, take out Goombas, race giant racers, time trials, maintaining a high combo, etc. That's the closest we've ever gotten to mission mode coming back in a new Mario Kart. Each track in the game has a normal variant, a variant in which you race the track in reverse, a variant where there's a lot of trick ramps, and one where it's in reverse with a lot of trick ramps, so you're racing some of these tracks multiple times in a different way in a couple ways, which is neat. They added an auto racing mode to where you can get a dynamic and panoramic view of drivers and the course alongside of photo mode that you can take snapshots with filters, kind of like Mario Odyssey's photo mode. Some of the SNES courses have completely different redesigned versions like Remix Mario Circuit or Remix Choco Island, so they kinda deviated away from reusing some of the SNES courses we've seen so much up until now. And I like that some of the characters have specific items they can use, like in Double Dash. Mario and Luigi, for example, can use the Fire Flower only. Cat Peach can use a Super Bell, which acts similarly to the Super Horn. Hammer Brother can chuck hammers. The babies can float in a bubble and automatically drive along the track, even though that's like one of the worst items in the game. A lot of the past dozens of tours have either made it so it's one side versus another, like kind of like a clan war, like a Mario versus Peach tour or a Toad versus Toadette tour, like it's a turf war, and it adds a small layer of competition with some tours, or adding tokens for making you do specific tasks so that you're going about racing some tours different and getting rewarded, which is kind of neat. I think that's the most I can think of regarding stuff I think is good about this game, or at least stuff I like that is kind of noteworthy. It's mainly just the roster's great, the new tracks are solid, and a handful are fantastic, the missions are cute and fun, and that's roughly about it. Okay, who's ready for me to bitch about a gacha game? Which, speaking of, let's get this first and obvious reason to why I hate Mario Kart Tour out of the way.
I'm a Wario. I'm gonna win.
Welcome to the world of gacha games, where companies cheat you into wasting money for either 2D PNGs or spare models of characters. Some games give you stuff to do, and multiple avenues to get some goods for free. This also coined the term free-to-play friendly. Gacha games that do allow a lot of ways to both play the game and acquire what you need through manageable and semi-generous means through normal play than spending money. But alas, it's still an effort to get more money out of your average consumer than usual. Scientifically proven to be psychologically exploitable and manipulative, tapping into a gambler's mentality, some cases deliberately so, in the most greedy and despicable way possible. So with any game that has gachas and loot boxes that want you to spend money on them, the bar has to be boxed down a couple notches off the bat because of this. You have some very generous gacha games. I hear a lot of good things about Dragalia Lost being very free-to-play friendly, and I'd argue to an extent Pokemon Masters became more free-to-play friendly as of these past several months. but these are still games trying to exploit you, your mind, and your wallet. Mario Kart Tour, on the Nintendo side of it, at least, is by far the worst example they have in this aspect, and I'll elaborate further on this later. But this game is free to start and free to play, but the only way you'll get characters is through basically a loot box, which you'll have a small chance of getting a character each time you start out a new pipe, the one you want anyways. The game has two different types of in-game currency that aren't tokens for doing specific tasks. The normal one being coins, which you accumulate through racing and grabbing coins, and rubies, which you accumulate through getting grand stars via a high score every track and every cup, that also unlock gifts the more you play, or through challenges the game gives you in which you can unlock either coins, grand stars, or rubies depending on the challenge and challenge board, basically like in-game achievements. And with tokens, they're a separate shop for those you can get a couple spare rubies in as well. If not these, the game also has ranked cups every week, where one cup you're pitted against 20 other players and racking up the highest total score in that cup for the most level up tickets, coins, and especially rubies, sometimes even characters. The challenge boards are a solid way to get rubies to a point, because once you complete a large chunk of the normal challenge boards, your only other method of getting rubies is through those ranked cups. I'm saving you for last. Otherwise, there's another way you could get a little extra rupees and other goodies if you don't want to spend too much money, which also feeds into the gacha aspect of this game. The Gold Pass. This subscription to where the grand stars you get can unlock more gifts and rewards, and you get access to 200cc. You know, the free harder racing class they put in Mario Kart 8 in a free update. Every month you're a subscriber, you'll get a couple extra spare rupees or some goodies. But yeah, if you want to be a pseudo free-to-play player like I've been, to where you don't want to splurge that much out of the game, but play in debatably the most optimal way, you heard me, the most optimal way, I'll elaborate later, the Gold Pass is an option. I don't know if I call it a good option, but it's an option either way. But yeah, forget there are two challenge boards that are premium boards you could pay even more money for more rewards. When a game asks you to buy $40 for Diddy Kong or $20 for Rosalina and some rubies, yeah, no, Chief, no. I bought a used copy of Mario Kart Wii off eBay for $50 because I lost my original, and I got Diddy Kong, but it also came with 32 tracks and 24 characters, and I followed this guide to where I could play now over 200 tracks. I got f***ing scammed! I don't find this game fun to play. I'm not gonna harp too hard on how it controls or functions, cause it's a mobile game with touch and gyro controls. It's already limited on options. That doesn't make it any more enjoyable though. They added landscape mode for people sick of playing in portrait like a year and a half into the game. Portrait's muscle memory for me long ago since I started the game, so that's not really much of a thing I care about, but micromanaging specific taps on the screen to drift, hop, use items, etc., that doesn't beat the natural flow and rhythm of a normal controller with Mario Kart. You can't brake or drive backwards, driving's always automatic, and the annoying part on my part is with how much I've played this game, it's inherently made me worse at Mario Kart 8 specifically, and it's just Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart Wii I'm still good at least, but my muscle memory of this game overlapped with 8. That's more of a personal issue I'll probably rectify soon with the DLC. They locked off 200cc behind a paywall, every race in the game's 2 laps as opposed to 3, so every race is even shorter and more punishing if you either mess up once or get Mario Karted at any point in the race almost every time, even once. I get why it's 2 laps, it's a mobile game, but that makes each race either usually anticlimactic / unfulfilling, or even more BS than what Mario Kart normally brings for multiple reasons. A lot like how Smash players disliked the 2 stock rule set in Smash 4 compared to Melee's 4 stock or Brawl and Ultimate's 3 stock rule set. There's no time trial mode outside the small handful of time trial missions on select tracks, so you don't necessarily get the same practice or experience with normal Mario Kart time trials and tracks. Them cycling through multiple tracks on and off every 2 weeks allows for slightly different experiences and orders every tour, but having access to most, if not all, those tracks at any point, in my opinion, I think is better. Giving the player more options is usually always the better option, and that's a big reason why I'm so happy tour tracks are coming to Mario Kart 8 now. And the point system is a whole design thing I'll save for the end. Not to mention, again, almost every single character in this game is locked behind loot boxes, so You're not unlocking characters in this game through normal means when compared to any other Mario Kart. On the whole, and in a general sense, you're not getting your typical Mario Kart experience with this game. Between the botched controls, the botched rules and options you could play the game, the entire gacha system locking characters behind it, and the sheer monotony the game wants you to undergo, dampened further by the fact that, again, thank God for the Booster Course Pass, because not only are some of the retros in Tour making their way onto a console Mario Kart again, but Tour's new tracks are also coming there too. So beyond roster, I'm losing more and more reasons to go back to this game. And hey, if the characters alone are your primary reason to go back to this game and you want to buckle down because you really want that Pauline skin, I hope you like grinding! So if you're not an RPG guy, because of some RPGs asking you to spend so much time leveling up your guys, getting good builds, getting stronger to take down certain enemies and bosses, this game is a disease you need to stay away from. Mario Kart Tour is not a free-to-play friendly game at all, and this is bar none the biggest reason why. You play the game casually. You play every track, cup, mission, you got all the grand stars you need, etc, etc. You feel fine, completely understandable, completely acceptable. That's like an average playthrough of every tour, again casually. But you aim for any specific character without spending money, you're committing hours of your life to this game. For instance, every player has a player level cap in the upper left corner, like you have a player level. I can't remember at which point it slogs to what I'm displaying right now, but look at how much my player level increased. I want to say around like the level 30s, 40s, or 50s, it becomes a slog? I don't remember, I swear to God. But on screen at some point, you get first place, you get less than 3% experience. At some point, every first place you get nets you at best 3% XP, or less on average. Around 33-ish races of getting first nets you 1 level up. You're spending several hours a day to just level up once, maybe twice if you're dedicated. And Tour has this very weird-ass way of level progression for the player in which every track has a normal version, a reverse version, a trick version, and a reverse trick version, right? Each of those versions for each track has an experience point cap in them as well. You race on Mushroom Gorge for a couple hours, you're gonna hit a point where you stop gaining experience for that specific version of that track. I'm at level 33, I race on Mushroom Gorge, make it to level 36, have like 65% experience to reach level 37, but I can't get any more experience for normal Mushroom Gorge. Then I gotta go to the R variant to get this spare XP, then the T variant, and then the RT variant. You're basically replaying every version of every track for several hours to raise your player level. Why does this matter? A, your overall score in each race gradually goes up with each level up. Each level up you get extra coins to buy stuff in the shop, and every 5 levels you get 5 extra rubies. And B, the ranked cups, which matter in high score and points, and I'll get to that later. Every little thing in this game is a feedback loop to one another in the more of this you boost, the better chances you win or achieve that, and obtain this other thing as a result. Because for anyone not familiar or new to this game, that's not all you're grinding. You already have to spend a lot of time grinding your own player level. You're doing the same for the characters, carts, and gliders you obtain. Yes, even the characters, car parts, and gliders have their own levels, their own points, and their own point caps and level caps. You get like 10 XP for every first place for all 3, depending on which you pick, and aren't maxed out point-wise. That's how you increase their point obtainability. Their overall level, which increases the chances of getting an item frenzy and multiplies bonus points, you can only boost via these level boost tickets specific to characters, carts, and gliders altogether that you can only get through gifts or through a small handful of specific challenge boards. Otherwise, you basically have to pull duplicates via the pipes, which goes back to the gacha parasitic psychological mindset from before, or buy them in the in-game shop with coins. They give you that option at least. There's been a token shop too, where you could get tokens like coins and buy some spare coins, rubies, tickets, and characters and such as well. And you can get a coin rush ticket for clearing a challenge board each tour as well to get more coins. But some of this, primarily the super and high-end tickets and parts and characters, are super expensive. You need an average of like 10 to 30,000 coins per tour, which isn't common to come by at all until you max out lower end pulls and get duplicates after, because then you get coins. Otherwise, you'll be lucky to get about 10,000. Thankfully, with this most recent tour, daily login bonuses are much better, so you're going to get a lot more coins for every 5 days you log in per tour, 60,000 coins at least, but it's never enough with this game. For specific tracks and cups, it wants you to pick a specific character, cart, and glider combination for that specific track. You don't have the best of one of the three, you better hope you get lucky with the points and items and item frenzies to get points for Grand Stars. It doesn't help either, there's a cap on how many coins and point XP you get per day. You can get 600 coins in races a day, and there's a point cap on how much points your combinations can get without point boost tickets. That cap increased at some point. In the first year of the game, it was incredibly bad how annoying that cap was originally, but the fact there's a cap at all speaks to how much this game wants you to grind. Basically, the higher the point cap any of the three drivers, carts, and gliders have, and the higher the level of those three, the more points you get. Thanks to your player, character, cart/glider level, and character, cart/glider point cap, the higher the score, the more Grand Stars you get, the more Grand Stars you get, the more gifts you get, Gold Pass player or not, ergo, more coins, gliders, characters, carts, rubies, point boost tickets, level boost tickets, item tickets, etc, etc. And when you factor in the ranked cups, you get even more rubies, coins, level boost tickets, point boost tickets, etc. None of this even factors the fact level boost tickets have normal end variants, super end variants, and high end variants for their respective tier. Why I'm emphasizing all of these and layers of grinding is because all of this ties into the challenge boards. The standard ones where you have to get 10 drivers, carts, or gliders, then 20 on the next board, 30 on the next board, etc. Get first place 100 times, then get first place 200 times, and the previous achievements tracks reset for the next, so you have to do basically 200 from scratch, then 300 for the next, with another reset, then 500 with the next being reset, the last being 700 with another reset. Reach player levels 10 to 50, tier 5 to 40, which is via the ranked cups that you can either go up, stay in, or go down once a week. Land 200 hits with bananas, then 500 with a reset, then 800 with a reset, 1200 with a reset, then 1500 with a reset. Similar with green shells, with resets, with bob-bombs, with resets, etc. The other standard board where you have to raise multiple drivers, carts, and gliders levels a couple notches. Same for their point caps and using point tickets, buying items from a normal or tier shop, etc. Multiplayer challenges to where you have to play a lot of races and win to raise your ranking for these challenges, participate in just multiple races, period, place top 3 several times, land hits with certain items a couple times through these. Those aren't that bad. Now, tier challenges to where you have to grind out ranked cups and do well in those to win. Get those rewards and get challenge board rewards as well. Seasonal boards where you basically do normal stuff like landing hits with items, doing well online, placing first a certain number of times on certain tracks, or the same with mini turbo boost, etc. Getting multiple coins, using specific items, obtaining a certain number of points in a cup, earning a number of points with a driver that fits a certain criteria, like having a mustache or an earring, etc. Every single little thing you do, obtain, and get in this game is all a giant interconnected web of grinding that you have to do to get the most out of it, or at the very least getting the rubies you need to get the characters you want without wasting as much money as a brand new game. Beyond token shops, gifts, and ranked cups, your only other way of getting rubies for free or pseudo-free are these challenge boards where you still have to dedicate hundreds of hours, deadass hundreds, to get what you want, to get rubies, grand stars, and coins, to getting multiple rows and completed boards and netting even more extra coins and rubies. Forget the expert challenge boards, which are a grind fest in of themselves. The fantastic combo 3500 challenge within 3 months, when the most you could get multiple fantastic combos in a race is like 5 or 6, and the only rewards for those are coins and a badge. Screw those. And what makes it even more obnoxious, they raised the level cap for everything. Player level, drivers, carts, and gliders. The level cap for players for the first year or so was like level 99, which was that took a long ass time to get to. Everything else, it was level 6, also a long ass time to get to, which you needed a lot of level tickets or pulling duplicates, which super and especially high-end pulls are much harder to come by, still another long ass time to get to that. Same for their tickets, and after a year-ish, they raised the player cap to 150, and the driver, cart, and glider levels to level 7, so that's hundreds of more hours the game wants you to do again. And what pissed me off is, they did it again. A week and a half ago, the Me Tour increased the cap for all of this for the final time, thank God. This is apparently the absolute highest you'll ever rank yourself, the drivers, carts, and gliders. But the level cap for the latter 3 is now 8, and you need an absurd amount of duplicates and tickets to reach that max now. and your player level cap went from 150 to motherfucking 300, I want to kill whoever made this decision as if the previous cap wasn't enough. This game's not like Pokemon Go, to where you can casually play, still get close, or make the player level cap level 40 and have nothing to do. Between the loot boxes, challenges, new tours, courses, and the absurd number of drivers, karts, and gliders that aren't maxed out, even when your player level is, at best half of everything will be maxed at that point. You're always going to be working for something in Tour, even if the previous cap was it. Imagine only being able to level up once every 30 plus races. That's like several hours a day, making each variant of each track have a level experience cap in themselves, having only so many challenges to clear that already ask for months of your time to complete, and rewards and collectibles that take you months to level up and raise, only for them to do it again by an extra half, and then again asking you to do double of what you've done almost 3 years now. A, f that. B, this game asks so much of your time, if not so much of your money, for the right character, kart, and glider combination, if not just the characters you want, whether through rubies or the part deals in the shop like the Diddy Kong deal, to where it's just absolutely miserable trying to play this game for free. The thousands of hours, very likely literally thousands of hours, to where you're forced to dedicate so much of your time replaying the same tracks and variants of those tracks, reaching the XP caps day in, day out, trying to get the highest scores to get both ranked cups and challenges cleared, or just getting extra coins to raise the right characters, karts, or gliders, repeating some of those same challenges just for extra rubies on other challenge boards. It's objectively several layers of monotony on top of one another for free-to-play and pseudo-free-to-play players amidst such a badly designed progression-based system. Within a Mario Kart, Nintendo passes off as their 9th entry. I just can't agree on that. This game's disgusting and miserable, with not just how it functions and plays, but especially in how it's designed. Not just from how much grinding you have to do, and none of it's fun, but also from the point-based design, because it not only is absolutely infuriating from the grindy free-to-play perspective, it completely flips a fundamental core design of Mario Kart on its head in the most obnoxious and backwards way possible. So, with any Mario Kart, there's always a couple strategies to the game and winning. You have to take these tight lines, sharp curves, off-road shortcuts, ultra shortcuts, these crazy and awesome strats, whether with items or item lists, to get first, utilizing your items as best you can, maintaining first, sometimes bagging in the back of the pack, pulling all the best items last minute, and then pulling a major upset, getting first near the end. There's classic Mario Kart BS, to where you can get comboed or knocked off a track, etc. But there's always this fundamental method to Mario Kart in every game, most of which I just described. In Mario Kart Tour, a lot of that is thrown out the window, all because of this point/combo based system. Remember all the talks I made of your player level increasing your overall score, and characters, karts, and gliders having their own point cap, their levels increasing the score based on their levels, the higher it is. All of those ties into your overall high score in each race, and Mario Kart Tour bases how good you are at the game based off that. Beyond all the base additions like what I just said that attribute to your point count, how else do you raise your high score per track? Hitting boost panels, mini turbos, super mini turbos, ultra mini turbos, doing tricks off ramps, which thankfully are automatic, hitting enemies on the track with items, hitting opponents with items, using and grabbing coins, hitting minor obstacles on the road like traffic cones or leaf piles. Basically any little thing you could think of that you do in Mario Kart adds to your overall points. What's more is if you do a lot of these in quick succession, you can maintain a combo that nets you more and more points. The more points you get based on your kart, glider, and driver level, and the larger of a window between one action and the next to keep the combo going. You basically want to keep up a high to non-stop combo, racking up as many points as you can. You could take some mini turbo boosts on tight corners, but you go out of your way to take longer routes that have either boost panels or coins, like the last curve before the finish line on Toad Circuit, for example. You'll maintain the combo and keep up the score, despite the objective fact you're risking losing first place because it's farther out of the way. Coins are automatic, and you're thinking you want to hold shells and bananas behind you to protect yourself and not lose first, right? No. you want to use them rhythmically and near instantly once you get them, especially if no coins, trick ramps, or opportunities to mini turbo boost are near to hit people behind you to keep up that combo. Getting first is a priority, but not as much as the game makes it out to be, compared to how much you have to maintain a combo every race to get rewarded. You basically have to play Mario Kart in a significantly suboptimal way that puts you at risk of getting hit more and losing first in order to maintain a high combo and get a high score while also still trying to get first at the same time. Bear in mind the 2-lap rule set as well, and the low defense you get with little room to do such, meaning if you slip up first place or get hit even once, any time in the race, there's a strong chance you'll have to restart the race all over again. Over and over and over again. It's fundamentally backwards as far as Mario Kart fundies go, but from the perspectives from free-to-play friendliness tied back to the grinding, how items work in the game, and the ranked cups and achievements in those, it's absolutely complete BS. There will come a point, like me, where you'll complete a large majority of the challenges, clear the cups and tracks and whatnot, clear most of your avenues for obtaining spare coins and rubies. At that point, which either way it's still spare coins and rubies and other stuff, so you're probably going to want to go for it anyways, your only other option of getting more coins and rubies and other goodies, or just working towards something at all, is these ranked cups. Usually the first and third cup of every tour is a ranked cup, bi-weekly, where 20 players work to getting a higher score out of the bunch. So most free-to-play players and players not willing to spend a whole lot of money on the game are going to have to work for these ranked cups. And going back to the 200cc optimal strat way back when, 200cc speed allows for more consistent combo windows and executions than 150cc does. I feel like it might be a track-by-track basis, but I'm led to believe 200cc is the most optimal way to get the highest combo. And a lot of it is based off how high of a level and point cap your player level, driver, kart, and gliders are, and I listed off basically all the components and what factors into your overall score. Except one key mechanic specific to Tour. Mario Kart Tour has an item roulette system in which you get 3 items, coins being automatically expunged when you pull them. If you get 3 of the same item, it triggers a frenzy, meaning you're invincible like you got a star, and you could spam that same item endlessly for like a dozen or so seconds. You're not only invincible and rack up a lot of points, but based on the item in that frenzy, you can obtain a stupid amount of points higher compared to other item frenzies. Coin frenzies, coin box frenzies, banana frenzies, giant banana frenzies. I'm fairly sure those are the most optimal frenzies you're going to be aiming for. Normal coin frenzies at the very least primarily. But not only are your chances of getting item frenzies very low, even with the right combination, even when you raised characters, carts, and gliders to raise those odds of getting a frenzy hardly go up by much. So it's a constant gambling game of hoping you get the right item frenzy, if not an item frenzy at all, to rack up your points in a game where you're more often than not throwing away your chances of obtaining first place and reaping the most rewards you can from this game. As if you're not already gambling on the rubies for characters and parts, the loot boxes, the items themselves are even more of a gamble. Mario Kart's item system's already a gamble in of itself. It's always been since Super Mario Kart, but with the way it's designed in Tour, and especially in how the game perceives a good player, a good score, and a good race from the point system, it provides for the most agonizing, frustrating experience I've ever had to endure in my life as a gamer. Forget Mario Kart, forget Mario Kart Wii with its insanely imbalanced item system, and specifically tied to the ranked cups themselves. This is also why they're so infuriating. A lot of it, far more than ever, is luck-based. Far more luck-based than either Mario Kart or Mario Party are infamous for. The other thing that makes it aggravating, I don't know if it's just me, how frequent others go through this too, I feel like this is becoming a bigger annoyance. The higher your tier is, I have no clue how they matchmake 20 people per tour for these ranked cups, but some of those scores you're fighting for are objectively impossible. Some dudes work up a score of 80 to 100,000, while I'm sitting here struggling to get 3rd or 6th place with like 40 or 60,000 points. And you never really truly know, beyond the new character they're going to focus on for the next tour, which characters are the ones you need to pull or level up. Same for which carts or gliders, so you're never 100% prepared. Like, whether the other guy bought some spare rubies or tickets or something, or the people in your ranked cup pool have 5 times more luck than Joseph Joestar, if you're not the luckiest guy out there, especially on a consistent basis per week, you're not winning the ranked cup, nor are you getting the most rupees you could be getting. Circling back to the point system in general, that the game rewards more than proper skill you'd find in any other Mario Kart, It allows and significantly amplifies your standard Mario Kart BS and punishes you much harder than any other game by a wide margin for being on the receiving end of that, or even just one screw up at any single point in the race. You're aiming significantly more on a gamble, even outside character pipes, and the sheer luck of Mario Kart because of how items, points, and defending against CPUs function in this game than you ever had with skill and track knowledge in any other Mario Kart. You're basically relying on an extremely astronomically low chance of getting 3 really good frenzies on 3 different tracks while not losing first and competing with other players who will have either higher level characters and combos, more luck, or both. And all of this ties into everything else you need to do to work towards leveling up your characters, carts, gliders, and players constantly to increase that score, to increase your odds of winning those ranked cups, clearing as many challenges as possible, getting as many rubies, coins, and other rewards as possible, swirled up on a Sunday of a game that asks for way too much of your time and is getting less and less fun and worthwhile as a result. At least with Pokemon Masters, for example, between the gameplay, lore expansion, continuity, and character moments, I have a couple reasons to go back to that game and have fun with it. With Mario Kart Tour, and especially now that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is finally getting more tracks, most of which are in that game, I'm seeing no reason to go back to Tour. And again, this shouldn't stop you if you like and want to keep playing Tour. This is just one dude on the internet complaining about a gacha game. But as a guy who loves Mario Kart, it hurts and is painful and miserable seeing a game with such a good roster and potential with the ideas and stuff it has get bogged down and significantly neutered by loot boxes and standard gacha BS, stripped down what most Mario Karts have in rules, is not fun to play, is the epitome of tedium and monotony incarnate with how many layers of grinding it has, and forces free-to-play players and pseudo-free-to-play players to commit to if they really want that character or some new Mario Kart experience, and the hundreds of hours it's begging you to spend on, despite how fundamentally and infuriatingly flawed from a gameplay perspective it is on several fronts, even beyond Masters. For just any video game that wants me to sink hours of my time into, I at least want to have fun with the game and get a decent experience out of, if not my sheer love for the franchise pulling me through. The first month or two of Mario Kart Tour, in spite of its flaws, even then, it was something of an experiment I decently enjoyed with, but the extra 2 years after I spent was an obvious mistake on my part with just how much I dislike this game and can't see it as a proper Mario Kart for how radically differently designed, structurally, fundamentally, and mechanically it is out of every Mario Kart. And once again, thank God for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC bringing in Tour tracks and giving us the whole version of them, because beyond the roster, in my opinion, I see no reason to ever revisit Tour. Screw this game. F Mario Kart Tour. I'm done. I'm finally free. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going back to Mario Kart Wii and Mario Kart 8. Stay safe and stay super. Do not touch Mario Kart Tour.
Yo, hey, 妹妹，嘿，我来呀！共粉，哈哈哈呀！拉面，嘿，来面，来个面，共粉，再见呀！哈哈，拉面，叫手面，谢谢。